Yo, what is going on, everyone? My name is Nick, or the Notorious Fantasy, and in today's video, we're going to be talking about 5 hidden gem players for the 2023 fantasy football season. Think of the term hidden gem as a sleeper. These are late round guys that I really think have the upside to help you win your 2023 fantasy football championship. But before we can go in depth into each of these 5 players, I would like to ask that if you guys are new to the channel and you do end up enjoying today's video, that you please make sure to hit that subscribe button down below. And while you're down there, whether you are new to the channel or not, please make sure that you do leave a like on today's video. It would help me out a ton. And if you want to follow me on Twitter, please do so at NotoriousFantasy. So without further ado, let's get into my 5 hidden gems for the 2023 fantasy football season, beginning at number 1 with JuJu Smith-Schuster, wide receiver of the New England Patriots. JuJu is currently coming off the board the earliest out of this group, and player number 5 will be going latest in drafts. Right now, JuJu Smith-Schuster is coming off the board on Underdog Fantasy as the wide receiver 52 at pick 107.8. Last year, he played in 16 games with the Kansas City Chiefs with 14 starts, finishing the year as the wide receiver 29.5 PPR and the wide receiver 40.5 PPR points per game. He had 101 targets, 6.3 per game. Number 31 at wide receiver, 78 receptions, 4.9 per game. Number 54, 933 receiving yards, 58.3 per game. Number 23, and 3 total touchdowns, 50th at wide receiver. Now, going into last year, I was kind of iffy on JuJu Smith-Schuster, and I was closer to the side that realized that while he is a Kansas City Chief, and while the Kansas City Chiefs offense is amazing, I didn't necessarily think that JuJu was going to be elevated by that. I didn't necessarily think that just because JuJu Smith-Schuster has this decent start to his career in Pittsburgh, and decent might be a little bit mean. It was really good to begin at Pittsburgh. People were talking about how he was the next Antonio Brown, but I realized that while Kelsey is the number 1 option, it could have been JuJu, it could have been MVS, it could have been McCole Hardman. There was an assortment of wide receivers that the Kansas City Chiefs rolled out. So I was kind of nervous about JuJu because he was going so early. Now, he wasn't like a top 3 round pick, but he was going higher than he is right now at pick 107.8. And JuJu was actually relatively effective as a Kansas City Chief. 188 total route wins, 12th at wide receiver, and a 52.1% route win rate, 6th at wide receiver. Now, I fully understand that it is a big, humongous downgrade going from Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid to going to the Patriots, right? I understand Bill Belichick, obviously not the most offensive-minded coach, but Mac Jones isn't all that great. But you have to understand the situation. They paid JuJu because they want him to be the number 1 wide receiver on this team. Their other wide receivers, Devontae Parker, might be cut. They have Tyquan Thornton, and then they have a ragtag group at the wide receiver position. And their tight ends, they have Gesicki, they have Hunter Henry. Who's going to take away targets from JuJu Smith-Schuster? Now, when he was a Chief, again, we bring up MVS. I think MVS is just as good, maybe even slightly better than JuJu in that Chiefs offense because he's been there for so long. McCole Hardman. They had Sky Moore. They have these other options. But with the Patriots, it is JuJu as the number 1 wide receiver by a wide margin, by a huge amount. And I think that the fact that they got rid of their offensive coordinator, they got rid of Matt Patricia, and they bring in Bill O'Brien. Now, I know a lot of people don't love Bill O'Brien because the guy is not the best GM ever, right? Remember when he got rid of DeAndre Hopkins for a used condom, right? So he isn't the best at that, but he's great at being an offensive coordinator. So I think JuJu in this situation, while it isn't obviously amazing, at wide receiver 52, why not take the shot on JuJu as the potential wide receiver 1 on the Patriots. And Jacoby Myers put up pretty decent numbers doing that the last couple of years, and now he is in Viva Las Vegas. At number 2, we have Dalton Schultz, tight end of the Houston Texans. Underdog ADP, tight end 12 at pick 127.5. Last year on the Dallas Cowboys, he played in 15 games, finishing as the tight end 10 in half PPR and the tight end 11 in half PPR points per game. He had 89 targets on the season, 5.9 per game, number 7, 57 receptions, 3.8 per game, number 11, 577 receiving yards, 38.5 per game, number 10, and 5 total touchdowns, number 8 at tight end. Some interesting efficiency stats. He had a 93.4% true catch rate, 9th at tight end, 1.18 yards per team pass attempt, 13th, and a 17.8% dominator rating, 16th at tight end. When you think of the wide receiver core for the Houston Texans, you think of John Mechie, who we haven't seen yet at the NFL level. You think of Nico Collins, and then they have some other pieces, right? They have Tank Dell, who they just drafted. So if you're trying to kind of figure out who the number 1 target on the team is, I don't necessarily think it's going to be Dalton Schultz, but would I be surprised if Dalton Schultz was number 2 in targets from the new quarterback, CJ Stroud, who they just drafted? I wouldn't be shocked at all. And I understand the Houston Texans on paper aren't going to be very good. Their defense is pretty their offense is pretty But at the end of the day, when you have a team that doesn't have the greatest defense, a team that's going to be down in games, what they have to do late in games is not run the ball. That's one of the downsides of Dameon Pierce. But it's a great upside for Dalton Schultz because the team is going to be down late in games, then they're going to have to feed the rock to Dalton Schultz. Now, I know a lot of people might have felt burned by Dalton Schultz last season because of where his ADP was and based upon where he finished at the end of the season. Again, tight end 10 in half PPR, tight end 11 in half PPR points per game. But this year, you are getting a much bigger discount. And the guy is still just as skilled as he was in Dallas. Now, obviously, the offense, the quarterback situation, not as good as Dallas. But technically, if CJ Stroud is relatively good, Dalton Schultz has a good opportunity to be a top 5 guy because of the amount of volume he's going to get. It's very clear. Kelsey is the number 1 guy. But outside of Kelsey, right, we got Mark Andrews, we got George Kittle, we got Kyle Pitts, we have Dallas Goedert, TJ Hawkinson, we have these other tight ends. But would you be surprised at all if at the end of the season, Dalton Schultz makes his way into the realm of a George Kittle? I wouldn't be, especially because they're going to be down in games. They're going to have to be throwing late. And while I don't think CJ Stroud is the second coming of Patrick Mahomes, and that in year 1, he's going to completely shape-shift this offense into something amazing, I think that CJ Stroud is going to be good for Dalton Schultz. I think Dalton Schultz is being criminally underrated right now. Now we move to player number 3 on the list, and that is going to be running back Kendre Miller of the New Orleans Saints. Current underdog ADP running back 44 at pick 135.7. We've mentioned underdog twice already. This is time number 3. So if you are new to Underdog Fantasy, click on the link down below in the video description and you will get a $100 first match deposit bonus. If you deposit $100, they will give you an additional $100. If you want to only do $25, they'll give you an additional $25. Underdog Fantasy is a best ball and pick'em website. Best ball is regular fantasy football, redraft fantasy football. It's 18 rounds, except there is no in-season management, meaning you don't set your lineup. The computer automatically puts the highest scores into your lineup every single week. There's no trades, and there's no waiver wire. The most fun part about fantasy football, for me, I love the offseason. I love talking about the drafts. I love doing the drafts. And the least fun part, a lot of times, is waking up to do the waiver wire or trying to set your lineup, and then you end up starting the wrong guy and you get all mad. On Underdog, you don't have to worry about any of that. They also have pick'em, so if gambling, sports betting isn't legalized in your state, a lot of the times you can actually do it on Underdog Fantasy. Now, they don't have spreads for the games, but they have spreads for instance, Patrick Mahomes over under 250 passing yards. Jamal Williams over under half a touchdown in a game. They have that on there, so make sure you guys check that out. Link in the video description. So, Kendre Miller. Now, this isn't necessarily the hottest running back in the draft. Obviously, everyone loves Bijan Robinson. People talk themselves into Jahmyr Gibbs. but he was a third-round pick in the 2023 NFL Draft, and he played 3 years at TCU. And I understand the Saints have Alvin Kamara. They have Jamal with 2 A's Williams, the touchdown vulture from the Lions last year. But what do we think about Alvin Kamara? Do we think Kamara is going to be suspended, or do we think he is going to play the whole season? If you think that Alvin Kamara is going to play the whole season, then don't draft Kendre Miller. You could, I guess, as like a handcuff, but don't draft him, right? You would, I guess, probably rather just draft Jamal Williams, who's going around the same range. Because Kendre Miller's value comes from if Alvin Kamara is suspended, which I believe will happen. Now, will they throw the book at him? Will they suspend him a whole season? I don't think so. But could he be suspended for the first 6 to 8 games? And could Kendre Miller take that role from him? I fully believe so. 14 games played in 2022 at 20 years old at TCU. They made it all the way to the national championship. 224 carries for 1,399 rushing yards, 16 receptions for 116 yards, 5.1% target share, and 17 total touchdowns. Obviously, that national championship, they got absolutely annihilated. They got butt-fucked by Stetson Bennett and the Georgia Bulldogs. Stetson Bennett somehow didn't graduate college. He was there for like 6 or 7 years. Guy's a straight-up genius, but back onto the point of things. Kendre Miller, 5'11", 215 pounds. Very shifty, in my opinion, and he has great cutting skills. He created 816 yards after contact in 2022, ranking 6th in the Power 5 conferences, and forced a missed tackle on 70 of his rushes, ranking 7th in the Power 5. So, if Alvin Kamara is suspended, Kendre Miller has legitimate top 12 upside. Now, is he going to get vultured by Jamal Williams? Probably a couple of times, but while Kendre Miller only had 16 receptions, I think he can catch passes. I think he will catch passes at the NFL level. Again, this is all assuming, and you know what they say about assumptions, they make an ass out of you and me, but this is assuming that Kamara gets suspended, and if he does, you are going to be making out like a bandit drafting Kendre Miller. Next up, we move to one of my guys that I've loved for a very long time, DJ Chark, baby Chark, wide receiver of the Carolina Panthers, underdog ADP, wide receiver 67 at pick 148. Last year, as a Detroit Lion, things didn't go too well for him. Wide receiver 70.5 PPR, wide receiver 56.5 PPR points per game. Played 11 games with 10 starts last year in Detroit. 52 targets, 4.7 per game. Ranking 79th, 30 receptions, 2.7 per game, 87th. 502 receiving yards, 45.6 per game, 64th. And 3 total tugs, 50th. Some interesting efficiency stats, though. DJ Chark, while he wasn't getting crazy amounts of targets, while he didn't play the whole season, the man was incredibly efficient when he was on the field. 9.7 yards per target, 10th at wide receiver. 16.7 yards per reception, 7th. And a 51% route win rate, 7th. I know, the Carolina Panthers aren't the sexiest team on earth. Right? They're not. They got young Bryce Young, starting quarterback rookie, on the team. They're saying they're going to start Andy Dalton, but if you believe that, you're a little bit crazy. They've got Adam Thielen, they've got Chark, they've got Mingo, who they just drafted. They also have Hayden Hurst, and they brought in Miles Sanders. They also have Chuba Hubbard still. When you're looking at that wide receiver core, while I'm still fine drafting Adam Thielen and Jonathan Mingo, Chark is the one coming at the value at pick 148, which is essentially free in a regular fantasy football draft. On Underdog, there's 18 rounds. In most of your regular fantasy leagues, there's 15 rounds. And the last 2 picks are kicker and defenses. So DJ Chark is essentially free and could be the number 1 receiver on the Carolina Panthers. Again, the stat sheet warriors, the people who just look at the stats, they might say, Nick, DJ Chark is washed, DJ Chark this, DJ Chark that. He hasn't been great since Jacksonville a couple of years ago. And I understand where you're coming from. But again, the efficiency tells a different story. It tells me that DJ Chark, while he's getting a bit up there in age, he still has the juice, like his name was O.J. Simpson, except for DJ Chark, hopefully isn't going to kill anyone. Maybe on the field he'll kill someone. Metaphorically, not really, not actually happening, but you get what I mean. Break some DB's ankles, right? DJ Chark, do. I like him in Carolina. I like him with Bryce Young. I still think Thielen might smash. But Chark is coming at such a discount. And he was efficient last year. I think people are really forgetting about just how good DJ Chark was in the past. And again, it's not like you have to draft him in the 6th round. He's basically free. He might even be on the waiver wire after your draft. Come late August, early September, unless people start to really catch on to the steam with DJ Chark, they start listening to me. At number 5, we have my guy, my favorite late round tight end, Sam LaPorta, tight end of the Detroit Lions, underdog ADP, tight end 22 at pick 172.4. He was pick number 34 in the 2023 NFL Draft and played for 4 years at Iowa Tight End University, producing more tight ends than the Kardashian family. In 2022, at 21 years old, 12 games played, 58 receptions on 94 targets for 656 yards, 11.3 yards per reception, 27% target share with a 61.7% catch rate with 1 receiving touchdown. In terms of player profiler, he ranks 91st percentile in the 40-yard dash with a 4.59 and 85th percentile in speed score with a 108.4. He had his breakout year in college in 2021. He had 30 broken tackles across the 2021 and 2022 season on 111 catches. The Athletic's Colton Pouncey writes that Sam LaPorta was the best player on the field by a wide margin in rookie minicamp thus far. Sam LaPorta is going to benefit from Jameson Williams being suspended, sussied, for the first 6 games of the season. Sam LaPorta is in a tight end room with not that good of tight ends, right? They got rid of not DJ Chark. They did get rid of DJ Chark, but they got rid of TJ Hockenson. They traded him to the Minnesota Vikings, and they drafted Sam LaPorta to be the TJ Hockenson replacement. Sam LaPorta has the skill. He has the ability to dominate. I would be perplexed, shocked, like that painting where the guy's mouth is open like that. He's like all out of whack, right? He's so shocked. That's how I would be if this man's ADP doesn't jump by a bunch. Last video, we talked about players skyrocketing up my rankings. Sam LaPorta's already very high in my rank. He's already, right when he got drafted, bang, moved him up. But I really think that the hype train is only just beginning. Choo-choo! And it's going to be all aboard the Sam LaPorta hype train. I've already drafted him a bunch on Underdog. He's been jammed into my teams. I'm going to continue to do it. I think his ADP is going to rise. And I think you are going to be very excited for what Sam LaPorta brings to fantasy football. The only negative with LaPorta is that rookie tight ends, even guys like Kyle Pitts, who dominate 50 Shades of Grey style in the rookie season, never really finish like the guy at the tight end position. But again, if you're drafting him as tight end 22, I don't think anyone's really expecting top 3 out of him. Like, if he finishes top 8, which I think is in the cards for him, that'd be very impressive. So thank you guys all so much for watching today's video. If you did end up enjoying, make sure you hit that subscribe button down below if you're new. Whether you are new to the channel or not, hit that like button down below. Let me know what you think in the comment section about today's video. Do you like these players? Do you think JuJu's a steal, or you think JuJu, you're dumb if you draft him, right? You're an idiot. Dalton Schultz, do you like him? Kendre Miller, DJ Chark, and Sam LaPorta. I love you guys all so much. More videos every single day of the week, Monday through Friday. Soon enough, we'll be adding Saturday and Sunday videos. And then once August comes, we're going to be shooting off videos left and right every day. Love you guys so much. Hope you have a great rest of your guys' day. And as always, good boy.